removal of the demerit points in crossing a traffic light intersection, even when the lights turned green for myself and the opposite um, traffic to proceed, with a fair amount of seconds passing that one would assume you would take off. It has now been my feverish concern and action to pause for a little longer than usual because there's always going to be an idiot speeding across the light, literally breaking it. So this is not you were crossing the lights in amber and then red came before you got all the way over the intersection. This is actually you were a distance away from the stop line. You sped up on the amber and you are literally crossing at red. This took me into another scenario that I experienced this week. So I'm in Port Spain. I had one or two errands to meet. And on the streets of Port Spain, mind you, I've traveled to other countries. So I speak from the perspective of other countries making it a practice. We've heard Slimy speak about China, and then I would have mentioned other parts of Asia and other parts of the world at large where courtesy is expected. So we will park our cars. There are one or two companies that will put out cones for their parking, but then all the other spaces are available for the random person to choose. For the love of God, why is it that individual will be so selfish, self-centered, shallow, superficial, and self-absorbed that you would see, even if you were the first vehicle that passed there on a morning, by the time at some point of the day you would have passed by and realized, okay, there's a big gap between me and the car in front of me and the car behind me. You could either roll forward a bit or roll back a bit and allow a space for another vehicle to pass. I know countries, I've visited countries where it is such a standard. Courtesy is such a standard that you can be given a ticket if your action is not one facilitating the next person. Because according to principles and doctrines, we are our brother's keeper. Excuse me. We are our brother's keeper. We are supposed to operate with our neighbors or brethren in mind so that whatever we do must not cause them any discomfort. And I'm realizing, other than the basic manners for good morning, any time of the day greeting, or just normal pleasantries, we are becoming more and more intense in our disdain for each other. So, in my opinion, if it is, we cannot get people to operate based on normal courtesies. I find they should bring back the wrecker. And I also find that if it is your parking and you're parking badly, the wardens, the police officers should write you a nice little ticket and leave it on your vehicle. There must be a caution for something like that because it's the little things, the lack of courtesy, lack of respect, the lack of love, the lack of trust, the lack of care on a whole is spiraling Trinidad and Tobago, the world at large, but we cannot. My mother has always taught me that you can't go and clean people's house if you stink and dirty. Clean your house first. So I can speak for Trinidad and Tobago. And another concept as well, we park in a straight line. And remember, on the normal standard rule of the road parking is that it's alternated different days. And we park in a straight line, which takes away from a lot of the parking, which again is a major reason why we have a few idiots parking as if they alone are the ones to park and as if they own the road. Now, people may think it's a trivial, petty topic, but it's not. Because you never know when a person is on their absolute last and may not have money to go into a car park, hoping to get a proper park on the road. There's also individuals who have senior citizens or disabled individuals with them. And 9 out of 10 times, I am working with someone like that. And, I would have to now drop them and then keep circling to find somewhere because 9 out of 10 times, mind you, the car parks are full. I normally try to park in a car park. Excuse me. If I can't do that, then, excuse me, I'll park on the road. So I wanted to be a little more courteous, a little more kind, a little more caring, a little more loving, a little more appreciative of individuals around us. That we are not the only ones functioning in this space, and there are other people that share space and time with us. As little as it may seem, it makes a lot of sense to another person. To the point that I know that someone was vehicle tire was punctured, all because they took a park and left not enough room for someone else. And the person was upset about that. And I watched it, and I mean, I said that they should not have done that, eh? But at the end of the day, I saw the logic in it. If you can think, because personally, if I am parking on the road, I always come out, make sure I check if I have enough room behind and in front, and if even I can roll up or roll forward, roll back or forward to give another vehicle, even if it's a small car. We have Swift, we have Axio, we have not Axio, nah, but the Swift, the Picanto, a number of vehicles that can fit in a small spot. I want us to be more caring. This is not going to be the topic for tonight, but it is the introduction because we have a national anthem, we have a pledge, and we have the watchwords of Trinidad and Tobago. And for a long time, I've been realizing that those words seem to mean nothing to us. The radio stations no longer play the anthem 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening like they used to. The pledge is not played. The watchwords are not uttered in very slim and far between circumstances it may be mentioned. But it's not a focal point. And it needs to be a focal point that keeps us grounded and steady in everything that we do. And hopefully, if we do that, the powers that be may find some way somehow to fix their operations and do better than they're doing. Because it's a matter of lacking love and care and respect, right? So that being said, I would I want to touch on the 10% increase and the utilities that's going up. But I'm going to let Renison go in with the CPEP topic because I know it's going to hinge on that topic and it may take up a lot more time as the two would be interlocked. All right? So, Renison, take the CPEP topic on and let's build on it.
Well, well, good afternoon. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this CPEP issue have been an issue that have been plaguing us for quite some time. And where it is, school is going on holidays. A lot of people is frightened, literally frightened. And there are a lot of children at this point in time is literally in the balance of not having any stationaries, any books. They are in a place where they're not sure if they're going to school. And there are some of them that know the value of education, that they see in the future just being whiffed away just like that. And many of us don't know how much this CEPEP thing would have affected a lot of us here in Trinidad and Tobago. It would have been affecting people from all strata of society, all strata of society. Whether you're PNM or UNC, that is not the case here. What people need to understand is this: it affecting the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Because since election, I have been hearing the talks of that one is a PNM, they don't deserve this right about now. And in my simple word, that is a bunch of bull. Because all of us here are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, despite who we vote for. When you flip out your ID card, you're seeing a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. And once you are a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, you deserve to be partakers. You are partakers. Inheritance of whatever wealth or prosperity that comes out of Trinidad and Tobago. You are entitled by the mere fact that you have an ID card. So when people saying that 2 and 3 people from different household, from same household as CEPEP contract, I am yet to see that at this point in time. However, I could call a particular minister name right about now, who he and his wife both had CEPEP contract, and one was taken away for what of a better reason, because the commander married. Around that time they didn't marry. Now that the commander married, it was taken away from them. But I beg to differ. I want to make this thing a little political now. So before I carry on with the story concerning CEPEP, this was one of the articles, this was one of the news briefings that would have been played on CNC3 concerning what is taking place right now with the CEPEP scenario.
As days turn into weeks since CEPEP workers last used their tools following the program's shutdown, the evidence of their absence in communities continue to grow.
It'll be resting, CEPEP used to clean it.
In Barataria, San Juan, coconut vendor Silal Ramcharan expressed concern about the overgrown grass along the main road.
All by the pavement, I think you see nobody cleaning up. I had to people to clean up in front, I think, sometimes. But when people was doing it, I didn't have to do anything.
He took CNC3 News to a drain at the side of his house, which he admitted needed cleaning before the program stopped, but said the workers used to maintain its surroundings. Lower down the road, Baba Garnish said government needs to find a solution to keep the environment clean, quick.
Being in the rainy season, grass just continues to grow. You can't stop it, it will always be growing. That's why I believe we need to have some kind of initiative where people have to come back out.
Over the constituency of Arango St. Joseph, mechanic David Lawrence says the overgrown grass which CEPEP used to maintain has already started to affect them. This green space, once suitable for jogging or relaxing, is now overgrown and littered with garbage. A sight former CEPEP worker can't wait to see when he passes by.
Sometimes I see you there sitting in the road, like 2 bags of rubbish, and I kick it on the side. Get out of the way.
When contacted, Minister of Public Utilities Barry Badara said regional corporations were mandated to increase their work and fill the gap. The same answer came from MP of Barataria San Juan Sanapusi. CNC3 News also messaged MPs Davis Maraj and Khadija Amin, but they did not respond up until Newsday. Kuraseli, CNC3 News.
Now, to you the people of Trinidad and Tobago, what I need you to understand. First, you see all lawyer who does like to call race in this. Watch the ethnicity of the people that was complaining in that clip. Your oil like race first. Watch the ethnicity of the people in that clip. You can never say it was Afro Trinidad alone, nor Indo Trinidad alone. It was both races would have been complaining concerning the shutdown of CEPEP, the effects, how it affecting, or how it affecting, a matter of fact, the environment. This has nothing to do with politics. This have to do here with the effectiveness of the CEPEP program in Trinidad and Tobago. Because where these people have been complaining, why you think they're complaining? Not because, yes, the program was taken away, but there was even self showing in their argument as to how effective CEPEP was. Yeah, there ain't nobody saying again. By and large, Trinidad and Tobago is ministers within the position that is saying that there is corruption in CEPEP, and you are, regardless to the small money people getting within the program, there are people that is crying out because they have nothing now. Nothing. When I agree with many of you outside here that the type of money that you have been getting from CEPEP, $110 a day, we need better employment. Yes, nothing just happen just so. We crawl before we leap. And what is the next effective way of dealing with the situation? People, I don't want to go on and on. I don't want to thief Keziah program here this afternoon, because my heart hot in me.
I wanted you to get it all out before I end.
No, because let me play. Be a little minute again. Let me play a second clip this evening. Let me play the second clip because there are people outside there that say.
In this world have two things, good and evil. And I believe this government commit evil against 30,000 people. Like taking away the daily bread. Don't eat. Some of them hungry, some of them starving. That is evil, that is a sin. Or they like that. That is what they call antichrist behavior practice. Especially the acts of evil, one of the biggest sins. Who commit attack. So a lot of people say they're going to church and they're going to have man them thing. No. The Bible says by your works they shall get paid. And the only two people I know for sure to get paid for the works is Mr. Keith Costard and Macaman. Because with the Christmas, Mr. Keith Costard is about Tampa to the people who vote for him. And this time I see he gave out Tampa to CEPEP program. And Macaman always give out Tampa to people. By your books they shall get paid. And I did books what you to do. Give a helping hand. Right? So going to church or nothing. Right? I don't want it, I don't know nobody go to the church or nothing. You just have to, goodness is in your heart. If you go to 100 church and the heart ain't clean, it can make no sense. I want to be good. I want to be good. I want to feel nice. Be good all the time. Nice, good all the time. I want to be good. Good. Yes, I want to feel nice, sweet, good all the time. Good.
Now, to you, Trinidad and Tobago. You know what you're hearing? Now, Many of you may be hearing certain things differently, you know. You know, I might be faulted with the factor that, you know, I kind of rush down and rush into certain things. But there are people in Trinidad and Tobago that have nothing. That is a fact. There are people in Trinidad and Tobago, the little that the have is all they have. There are people right now in Trinidad and Tobago. I only would have witnessed, I would have heard about it. I would have heard talks. But I would have seen it around this election that would have taken place there. When I would have went into the Beetham landfill, there are people that is living there. There are people that is scavengers on all the landfill in Trinidad. That is where they're living. That is where they're eating, and some of them sleeping right there. They no lie, I tell you now. I just didn't want to play. I ain't gonna play that clip here today. But literally, if we can be certain that there are people that is living there and they are underneath the breadline, what do you think if one of these parents and them was working CEPEP and going on the landfill after the hustle? What do you think going on with them? What do you think going on with them? And you know, we could say on the end of the day that the file was sent to the DPP as to see what is taking place. And many of them are saying, in defense of what this government would have done. I hope you understand what is constructive criticism. In defense of what this government would have done, many of them would have been saying, let the government do what they have to do. But CEPEP is currently embroiled in significant controversy involving the extension of 300 CEPEP contract till 2029 with expenditure of $1.4 billion. And only today, in concordance to the release from the UNC camp, 33 contractors, 32 have been struck off the books and one was not seen anywhere there. But what's going on with the 10,000 people? What's going on with the 10,000 people? What's going on with forestry? What's going on with the URP? That's our next mark the bus. But what's going on with these 10,000 people that now is on the breadline? Question to you, the public. And with that, I rest my case one time. I know the hosts have it, the hosts have it locked on, but I rest my case there. That is a question I want you to answer in your silent time. Regardless whether or not you love our government, you could kiss them, like my government, they look like me. But I am evaluating their behavior in terms of where the population is concerned. How they treat with the population, how they treat with the single mother, how they treat with the man that just trying to stay away from crime, that now come out of jail, get a CEPEP hustle and decide to think. That is why I'm dealing with how they treat with these set of people and them that trying to rehabilitate, that trying to make something with their lives and using CEPEP as a stepping stone to propel forward within the future. Yes, there are people that would have looked at it as a career, but there are some that would have used it for the right thing, and they are miles away from CEPEP. Some of them had their own cutting contract right about now. They're going around and cutting grass, and they were properly reformed through the CEPEP program. What I am evaluating is how the government deal with these people. That is all. And with that, again, as I say, I turn it back over to the host.
So you understand why I started with courtesy, respect, love, care, trust. Everybody is thinking themselves. Yeah. And I remember the deceased Dr. Eric Williams said, 1 from 10 leaves no. And people at the time did not understand the concept. 1 from 10 is 9. No. If you're looking at the standalone number 10, there's a 1 and there's a 0. If you remove that 1, we will be nothing. We will be naught, we will be nil. We have these CEPEP workers who are currently affected, along with a number of other public service employees. When would we have a government that will stabilize the country in such a way that no matter what government comes into power, what political party comes into power and forms the administrative government will not affect the living standards of the citizens of the country. The citizens will not be affected because you will create a pillar of economic stability, not just for the country, but for citizens, their employment, their business structure to continue going without being affected by a change. Because every time a government comes in, they operate the public service like their personal parlor, right? Not as if it is a business that facilitates the bread and butter of the citizens of the country and willingly dismissing people without caring how they're going to take care of their families. And that is both governments, both political administration. So I'm not going to put it on UNC and say PNM didn't do it. It was done under PNM. But if we can get a government that has the best interests of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago at heart, they will not have to worry about being changed when things don't go the way of the citizens, because it will have a structure, a portfolio, a profile that must be maintained at all times, no matter who gets in there. Mandates would be set in such a way that it would be like the Rock of Gibraltar. That Rock of Gibraltar, it would stand like that forever. Because oh boy, many times we hear people, no, we can't do this and we can't do that. Why? When there are so many other countries of the world that's doing it, why are we so different? Why are we willing to accept mediocrity? Why are we willing to get to the bottom of the barrel before we see that things are bad and can easily be repaired if we have a focused and dedicated government willing to tend to the needs of the people that they are charged for? My heart bleeds constantly. I'm hearing Renaissance speaking about parents who worried because they can't pay buy school books and stuff because they were CEPEP workers and they were left off. They were laid off. Right? Right now myself, I have all the past textbooks that I could have put together to donate, because I know there are people out there who need this, and I mean I donate. And every so often I get the opportunity, I do what I can to help somebody. Sometimes it may not necessarily be monetary, but anything you can do goes a long way for someone who is in need. And if we keep saying, the thing about it is, what they do not understand, what the rest of the public is not understanding, when they allow the government to operate like this, for the most insignificant division of the country, they weren't taking a big chunk from the country, and they played a vital role in communities. They played an extremely vital role. Communities were clean. Communities were absolute. completely clean. So I do not know if people are paying attention to what is going on that end. But what is rich here definitely ain't past here. And I keep hearing the old people as I've been growing up saying what don't reach you in past year. Let us say it in the local columns. What don't reach you in past year. And where horse reach, donkey does reach gate too. So if we are thinking, leading government, let them get catch them back, let them do what they're doing. What they're doing right now is affecting citizens. And if we continue to let them and allow them to do the things that affect citizens, what will happen is many of us will end up exactly like that, and we will have no one to blame but for ourselves if we do not hold the government accountable and responsible for what they are supposed to be doing, right? Allowing them to feel that they can come in and do whatever they want and just allow the citizens of the country to suffer, to be in mayhem and madness every living day. That is unsafe. For a country that could easily be revamped, a country that could easily pick up the pieces and champion forward. We have medical tourism that is an opportunity. That will fuel the relevant and necessary income needed for agriculture. Also create a SEZ, which is a special economic zone, similar to what Panama has that everybody run into, but there's a language barrier. Once again, just like the medical tourism, we break that language barrier because currently we have a lot of English speakers. And what a lot of people don't know is that we have a lot of French-speaking individuals here through the African citizens, Nigerian, Congo, and many others that speak French. We have a plethora of options more than any diaspora of the Caribbean that we could tap into those resources and make Trinidad great again. Make Trinidad and Tobago great again because we must not neglect the tourism that is buying and budding in Tobago and they're fighting tooth and nail to continue developing it. When will we have a government that is going to focus on the people? Look out for the people. It is time we get a government that is about that.
Right, so the picture that you was now seeing there, that is Guapo Dump. There are a lot of people that hustling and scavenging there. That was just one clip. We have some clips. Cause I know you get the internet connection that interfered with just now there, and we wasn't here, and it just freeze up just like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, take up from where you left out. We just play the clip whilst you would have been silent.
Many of the citizens, many of the public servants are forgetting the private sector workers. Many of them forgetting those that are currently affected, not just CEPEP, but there are public servants who contract came to an end and they were dismissed. There are public servants who have just been sent off, not even in the end of their contract, but just sent home. People are really truly being affected, and I don't understand. I don't understand why we thinking we are above board, that it cannot reach home for us. If we keep allowing our government to think that they could do whatever they want, they will play marks with all of us. It's not just going to be one. Many will be affected because we are allowing them to think that we don't care once it don't reach home. Once it don't reach home by me, I don't care. No, we have to care. We have to stand up. We have to speak out. We have to say enough is enough. We have to say that you are there because of us, and we want you to function in our interest. Function as if you are dealing with human beings. We are not bystanders, sorry. We are human beings with lives, and the condition of living can be changed for so many people if we get a government that knows what they're doing, willing to make the hard decisions, know that it's for the long haul, and if it is, they are working in the interest of the citizens in the right direction. Just like how in the assumption of the citizens, we thought that the first administration of the last CNM government was hopeful. So we gave them another opportunity to connect the dots, and they didn't. If does what's necessary for the people. We are going to give them an opportunity. We'll stick with them, but the people have to see their way too. And there are countries that does it. There are countries doing it, and we are not far from these people that we are excluded. We have opportunities. Trinidad has a lot of opportunities. Though we don't have the access to the oil as we did before, we have a lot of opportunities and a lot of viability. And that is what we need to focus on. What we can do, that's medical tourism. Look at how many people ran to Napa because of surgeries. That is locally, right? And a lot of them, we have a lot of the Caribbean islands that experience the same thing. I don't know if this organization goes there as well. But what I do know is that the private sector here sees over 30,000. And the remainder of those patients that are on team that have to find their way to other parts of the world that would be more expensive than us for the same service we can provide at a profit, and immense profits at that. It's something to look into. We have the agricultural sector that we can boost and support a lot of the Caribbean islands, because I am telling you, when I travel to the Caribbean islands, I struggle to find callaloo bush. We could walk into any market, any supermarket, and pretty much guarantee that we will see callaloo bush by itself, callaloo pack, callaloo whole bush. We're seeing it. But in a lot of the islands, they don't have that luxury. We can't boost our agriculture sector. We import a heaping load of sugar. We could go back into the production of sugar. We can, right? So what we're importing will now become an export that will generate an income for us. We have the special economic zone that we can tap into. We could become a special economic zone. People will come here. And once there is money, you're able to deal with the crime situation. We will be able to deal with the crime situation because a number of individuals get involved in crime not because they don't want to work, We don't understand that it's not because they don't want to work. What they don't want to do is work themselves to the bone and still cannot take care of their family. That is what people don't want to do. So when they see I am working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and I still can't save no money, I can't buy a car, I can't buy a house, I still living home with my parents, why am I doing it? It's better I stay home and whatever I can hustle on the block, whether I sell weed or whatever be the case or any other type of narcotic, they will do that. Because the issue is not working. Because at the end of the day, this is a work, eh? Don't be mistaken at all that when people stop on the block and they're selling and stuff that they're not working, that is a work. But they just want to be in control of their lifestyle and not be boxed in to a system. Because they have the private sector that is working for minimum wage with no back pay, no incentive, no commission, no bonuses or nothing. No 13-month increment, nothing of the sort. And what I said before will happen. They done talking, having talked about raising electricity, water rate going and raise. Instead of taking away the what they call it, the property tax, like they were protesting that they would do, what they come and do, they adjusted it. No, I was never one for the removal of property tax. There is not a country in the world that you do not have property tax to pay. You do have property tax. So we were fortunate not to have it for a couple of years. But all countries, that's the way governments make their money. So I would never challenge that because then when you have needs that the government cannot meet, you're going to wonder why. And that would be a reason why. If there's no taxes, there would be no money into the government. They will not be able to take care of a number of social and economical issues. Right? So it's not just the US spectrum I'm dealing with the special economic zone, the agriculture, or the medical tourism and regular tourism, because all will be boosted across the board. Every last one will see their What I need people to understand, and I don't know how much to say it again, because every week we start off speaking about something else, and then it takes us right back down this rabbit hole.
To the diversity.
Listen, not just the diversity, but we need a government to see the bigger picture and work on the bigger picture.
Yeah, but are we able to handle our government that able to see the bigger picture? Because, I mean,
yes, we can.
Why I'm
Let
saying,
me tell you something.
why I'm saying that, Kezia, is this.
Go ahead.
I mean, if the government started focus on just so we have a call. Let me answer this call, Amatafa.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, caller.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Jeff, and good evening, Ms. Kezia. Ms. Kezia, yeah, there's some countries that don't pay property tax. I think it's Cayman Islands and Sri Lanka and a few of them. I think a couple, but anyhow. So we're talking about the CEPEP, right?
I stand corrected because they're actually true. As well as Dubai, United Arab Emirates, there are a few countries, so I stand corrected.
Right.
So I know you are a well-traveled lady, so I know you know now. Sometimes you make a little mistake and but that is podcast.
I do.
So,
and I'm not too big to be corrected, and I will stand corrected because I could add to that Abu Dhabi, Japan, I think also does not charge Switzerland, I think, also is another place that you don't pay taxes, and some other places. Now that you're corrected me, my mind running right back on the list of countries that do not. But those are
All right.
countries that have a flourishing economic standing. And until we
Yeah.
get to the
So,
point where our economy is flourishing, we can't entertain no property tax or any other tax for that matter. But let me allow you to speak. I'm so sorry.
no, that's all right. So we're talking about the CPEP, right?
Yes, we're talking about
So
CPEP.
a question for both of you all. Yeah, a question for both of you all. If the past regime, past government did not renew the contract without parliament approval, do you think we would have been going through this? And don't you think that the person who was responsible for doing that didn't have the knowledge and know what they were doing was wrong? And don't you think they did this purposely to stir this problem right now we experience it? Because they had the past regime
What
had
a
always
willful
used
act.
CPEP as a
Colette,
football.
what a willful act. Because prior to their dismissal and prior to the election, it was said that the CPEP is a bunch of PMI, PNI, so however you want to say, right? But you won by a landslide. Look at how the CPEP is throughout the entire country, inclusive of Tobago. Other than Tobago, you won in Trinidad by a landslide. I mean, you could change the color of the red to yellow. What? It was a speck.
Because I don't want to call that a waste of his money, so let me hear what he call that saying
Yeah.
that.
So Miss Kizzy is not about matter political party, it's a matter knowing the knowledge that you knowing again renewing contract which was not finished as yet, was still going on for a couple of years and renew it till 2030 wherever. And you knowing that with your knowledge as that minister and still doing it and knowing the repercussion with doing it without parliament privilege, do you think is something that was orchestrated to create this problem? Because the past regime had always used CPEP as a political football. Let me be real. We're living in a real world. You had to go
But this
meetings,
is
you had
what
to
it
go.
is.
I living on the
They
I
play
living on the
Russian
outside and
roulette
I
with
used to
citizens' life and livelihood.
You see, let me interrupt a little bit, caller. I do not believe that that was done on purpose. Let me tell you why. The process that would have taken place in terms of where the contract renewal was taking place, that would have started since in January. Nobody did know that Stuart Young was going to call the election in April 28th. So on the heels of election, let me finish, please. Let me finish. When this thing would have take place in January this year, earlier on this year, when the process did start to take place, Rowley probably didn't know that he was going to put Stuart Young there. I'm not disputing that part. But nobody didn't know when Stuart Young was going to call election. To say that, it appearing to be in that manner, I honestly don't believe that that would have taken place like that in that manner. To be quite honest, I'm being frank.
look, but the argument is, Mr. Jeff.
You was being ignorant to our group because I did say election was going to be called early. That was sometime in November or December. I made that comment. And everybody thought, where you don't get this thing from? Guess what? A lot of what I said came to pass. So, ignorance is bliss.
I hear what you said.
Ignorance of focusing on the fact that the information was out there and they needed to pay attention to it.
But the argument is, Mr. Jeff and Ms. Kizzy, is that the argument, Mr. Jeff and Ms. Kizzy, is that you have to allocate money when you renew a contract.
Caller,
yearly budget.
caller, you see, you're not, you see, I wasn't. Are you on my TikTok page? You know, we would have talked
No, I'm
about the
on it.
situation at length, and you know, although we don't like to listen to the PNM, many of you don't like to listen to the PNM. Colonel Imbud would have explained this whole situation, and you know, we was actually looking for the video as to play concerning that, and Colonel Imbud would have actually talk about this whole situation in our press conference.
But the question is, Mr. Jeff and Ms. Kizzy, your had contract was extended out to 2026, 2027.
2029 until.
Yeah, why do an extension on it for when the contract wasn't completed? And this is the problem.
It's only 12. It's only 12 contracts have been extended. Only 12.
And then who wasn't on the registry wasn't paying the taxes?
Yes, it have only 32.
Well, we know that.
Only
We know
32.
that.
But let me
it's
put
at
it
this
in our
point-
reverse. Let me put it in our reverse. Let's put it in our reverse. If UNC had done that, what would have been, the results now?
Caller, don't tell me that. Don't tell me the UNC never do that.
No, but you see,
Rudal Mulilal would have done that. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me they never do that.
If we talking about now, if he had...
No, well, oh God, don't tell me that the UNC didn't do it. The UNC did that. Rudal Munilal would have extended the contracts of people that would have lasted until 2019.
It was done. It was done.
Right. So
and
let's
UNC
say
was the
it
one that formulated CEPEP to be a more permanent job structure as opposed to the fly-by-night 10 days that it was sort of to replace. When they were in the last administration and they were going up for elections, that was one of the things they did. They made CEPEP a permanent employment structure.
But when UNC had done that, did they get parliament approval?
No, it had no parliament approval.
Exactly. And now we're going to say no, but they did it anyway. But what did not happen was the ensuring that everyone were a legitimately registered business and their wages, because remember, the CEPEP company were the ones paying everybody. So what the CEPEP company should have done was to garnish their wage, taking out the relevant taxes, even for the contractors, and not leave it up to them to do.
Yeah, but caller, I hear your side. Yes, it was done. They would have extended. So tell me, where is the point you're arguing here? I mean, obviously, you're weighing out the two sides of the fence. Where is the point that you're arguing here? It was done by both administrations.
And this is the point where I'm saying they're using the CEPEP as a political football, and one party in particular using it more than the other. And let me be real. The both parties did it.
Let me be fair. Right now I could play a tape for you that when the UNC would have brought them and a man could not answer, he say he work in CEPEP, that all over the internet. When they ask them, will you come in here to protest for? And some of them didn't know that is a known tape. You see, I don't want to make it political. The two party, yes, but I use CEPEP as a political football. But the wrong in it that I am highlighting, that the people must understand is this. Is that it could have been done in a more different way. The restructuring process could have done differently.
If we allow the buck to stop here, the catastrophe that will come, because let me tell all you something, another thing that I said, and a lot of people not paying attention. You see that he said that we take, he said that we take for granted. Bet your bottom dollar, if we do not hold the government accountable for governance, proper in this country, you will see how many parents will just now have to pay for their children to sit their first, second, third, fourth, fifth tries, like all other countries in CARICOM.
So
That's
so
that very exam.
so
All right.
caller.
So before I leave,
Yes, yes,
all
let
I
me.
want, Mr. Jeff, all I want, Mr. Jeff and Miss Kizzy, the past minister, I need him to come forward because I'm not hearing from him, and I want him to see what he have to see, what's going on.
Okay.
Because I've not seen him talking about it. I've not seen him holding a press conference. Or the most I seen is articles with him on Facebook. And I think he needs to come forward, have a press conference, and see what's going on. Let me hear the full side of the story. All right, guys, look on listen.
All right, thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. I mean, Kezia, I know you would have heard what was just been said there just now. There. And as we are saying, there are two sides of the fence. Both of them would have used the CEPEP as a political football. And now is a chance, a matter of fact, now is a chance that this present administration could use it differently. Do something.
This is exactly the point. Why every time a government come in and a government go out, it is about the public servants or the citizens at large feeling the pinch instead of them stepping in and do what they are supposed to do. Why is it that you're playing Russian roulette with people's lives and livelihood? They always do that. They hold people to ransom. And it's not supposed to be that way. It's us, the citizens, are supposed to hold the government to ransom for their actions, their responsibilities, their accountabilities. Because they are both responsible and accountable for the country and its citizens. And they're not doing that. So the CEPEP will only be the beginning of it.
Good night, caller.
Everything else.
What is your contribution?
Hello, good night.
Yes, good night, caller.
Right. What I want to say is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Rima.
Yes, no, you're getting any echo?
Slide.
Am I lower my volume? What I want to say is, it ain't going to have no more CEPEP. I don't know what we're talking this thing over and over for. It ain't having no CEPEP again. If contracts wasn't renewed, they would have bust up everything. They would have bust up everything. They come to bust up. They bust up that. And it's not only CEPEP. It have the MILOT, the CCC, and all these other programs for the youth. Where's the excuse for that? Where's the excuse for shutting down these programs? Is one race thereafter, Check the kind of people, children, where us go to these kind of programs. Right? They cuckoo real good, the next set of people. Right? Where you see the black people, children, is nothing for them. And they say they want to fight crime. I see somebody saying that Rowley mash up the place. I know Rowley mash up the place. Right? Everybody know that. When he was mashing it up, I used to advocate, talk for protest, and they only blocking for this lady and she party. Right? They didn't want to say, well, let her protest. It's why she had to do that. She's a lady. No, she ain't so ladylike. They like that. It's however the thing swing, it's so they go in. It swings so, they dance so. It swing back the next side, everything is okay. I just talk plain, I on this kind of thing with solution and strategy and thing, I watching the behavior of these people. Right? She wait. The Prime Minister and her organization, everything is we go vote them out. They never protest. She never called protest. They ain't have belly for that. Is that activists and people with talk show and things who help put them in power, Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
I was hearing somebody else. So they wait till Rowley and the PNM mash it up and say they coming to fix. And they mashing up too. What kind of fixing all they fixing? I can understand that. All you wait for a party to mash up a place and say we go riot with we finger and all they say all they fixing. Why didn't they attack the PNM all 3 years ago before this thing get rotten? But I will tell you something, and what I say this come to pass. See that SOE they called it is to save them from the opposition. Because when they see the action of them 13 people, when they decide to protest, and this is something I told you all from beginning, I said they touched the wrong one, and they're going to have protests. And protests it had the day when Moody was here in the parliament. All they could remember that?
Yes, we remember that. I remember that,
So
Amata.
after that now, they call SOE and they say, all kind of story, or they want to kill this judge and this one and that one. So they're more important than the people. So if they didn't want to kill the judge and them, and the prison officer and them with their custom killing, it wouldn't have no SOE, but I know they call the SOE to save themselves from protest, so nobody can protest, You understand? It's the 13 people that afraid they in the parliament opposite them. You understand? And if you listen good, you're hearing people, especially Stuart Young, telling them the rights and the wrongs about having SOE over and over. And you see, they went and renewed, they extended. They cannot continue with having SOE because it have treaties they're on, and they have to follow the treaties, the laws, in other words, in the Organization of America. This is something that has been telling people the whole time. It is what we law say. They will be violating human rights. So think about it.
And I really believe
Just think
that the people, because they're anticipating that the people is going and retaliate, is why the call is. I really believe that. I really believe
and
that.
They want to give you a 6 for 9. That is what they're doing. They want to give us a 6 for 9. It's the same thing. They give me 2 a 6 for 9. That lady can't take no vehicle every day to come into Port of Spain to work. She had to work at home, sweet home. So they exaggerate that thing. Something we could fix where she could go in the office and work. And they come up with a story and tell people.
Yeah, but Miss Arima, where Moody was, where did they entertain Moody? Where they entertain? Let's be real. We gotta be real, in the same building.
Which building?
The same building, Whitehall.
That they have a problem with. That need to do all of the
I know that part.
Stuff like that.
I know that part. I know he went to this hockey stadium.
Yes, he went there.
About the parliament, but I don't know about the White.
Yeah, he went to Whitehall after he went back to Whitehall,
right?
And was entertained there.
They fix it up, right? And where she up to now? At home, sweet home.
Home, sweet home.
When you're home, you could sleep. I ask a question, and when you're home, you could sleep.
you could do anything while you're home too, Arima. You could entertain people. You could entertain people off the record too.
Yes, you could eat, you could drink, you could lie down and sleep. You start to work when you want, when you wake up.
But
look here now, man.
The Prime Minister does only drink coffee and water and sometimes juice. Let's leave that alone.
I ain't saying anything. I ain't saying nothing. All I say You could eat, you could drink, you could sleep, and we just do these things when we home, relax.
Yes,
You
yes,
could
yes.
get up and work when you feel. If you ain't feel to work, you lie down and sleep. When you get up, you take a little drink or something again. If it's a hot cup of tea.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
how
hot
I
cup of
talk.
tea.
Is the truth I talking? But when you have to wake up to go to work, is a different story, you know. All you do just listen to these people, you know, take them in. Take them in. They're bright like torchlight. And we have to stop saying the UNC, is a coalition, and coalition do not last.
Well,
Coalitions do not last.
well, thank you,
Okay,
Mr. Rima.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, to Mr. Boise Singh, that is on TikTok and is trying to induce panic and pandemonium and stating that the UNC lawyers is listening. So what? So what if the UNC lawyers is listening? What I want them to do is to fix this country. That I don't have to study about crime. I don't have to study about all these things. So what?
Understand what a government is for and their governance. And speaking on it is the right of every citizen in Trinidad and Tobago.
No, Kezia, the right of any government is to do what they want. That is what them people and them is encouraging, you know? Because some of the comments that you are hearing constantly is that where were you for the past 9 years? Look at Rima talking about it.
Right there.
That is what they were saying.
I was one advocating for a shutdown of the country, even in the PNM government. When they shut this country down for 2 years for COVID, and no other country in the world had COVID restrictions that long except for wearing your mask and your distancing. We had schools shut down, businesses shut down till some of them couldn't catch themselves and closed down. Right? The type of restrictions we had here, other places, other islands were like, but what going on there? What going on by all here? We don't understand. We functioning normal, and everything here was shut down. And when I said, okay, they want to shut it down, they only want to have what they call the essential workers. Then here what? We all have COVID. Like we shut the country down, period. Only auxiliary staff goes out and all administrative stay home. But guess what? Nobody wanted to hear that. Everybody was like, why? Why this? Why that? Why the other? Guess what? The same mess hit the fan and now it's all over the place. We put another administration in, and you telling me they start they are saying be in the back of the class? But if they were in the back of the class, they were playing. But outside of that, they were behind the school. Because if you tell me 10 years of 9 years and change of an administration that you said did nothing, and you come in and you have no plans on how all the ills that you identify were wrong could be fixed, and still start a process to fix. All you start to do is break down with no plan on how to rebuild, restructure. Then what it is you're there for? Why are you there for? And it's on this premise the country must shut down. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago must grow a set of kahunas and say enough is enough. Shut the country down. Go nowhere. We have demands. It does not take a 1990 coup situation to get a demand met. No. That was back in the day in a cake mode and a cake method. We have the medias now at our fingertips. And from the time Trinidad and Tobago citizens stay home from work, both public and private, they're going to start to be called by all international stakeholders what's going on with Trinidad and Tobago. You see, aviation, and I'm keep mentioning it, the airport is a diplomatic center. Anytime the aviation authority is unsure of your status, they will not route planes in our direction. That will affect us. The phones to the government will be ringing off the hook. What's going on? And you can't come and tell them, no, the people just ramping and skinning, they just didn't feel like coming out to work today. You know what I will tell you? Get your act together. So unless we understand that the power is with us, all we need to do is stand against it, band together, and we just stay home.
And
By
with that,
time half of the day, you're going to see, because you're going to offer 10%. What people not understanding, and I want to be abundantly clear. You're going to give the 10% now. Where you're taking that money from? The Heritage Fund? Because we didn't make no money for a while. When you tap into that fund, the only reserve we have right now to rally us, we're not working to bring in money. You ain't even looking at any side hustle for the economy to bring in money. And there are opportunities and avenues to steady the economy, create an economic portfolio, and set the country back to its old status of functional and flourishing. Then most of our issues would be erased, especially that crime situation. A lot of crimes are crimes of opportunity, especially for the theft and stuff. Look, I was on the Savannah just the other day, and a lady came. She's talking about her two young boys. So how with her bracelets? Well, apparently she's probably Trinidad born, but lived in the US or whatever. And she is talking about they grab her trying to grab her for bracelets and stuff like that, and she fought them. But she was in a group of people, so they fought with her and got them to flee. Excuse me. That was a crime of opportunity simply because if I want money, I want it quick because I'm not willing to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Now, when I do get the money, is my transport is gone, my food is gone, my bills is gone, and then I still don't have it. All right, I will take the opportunity to take where I could. When we take away that from that crime of opportunity from the hardened criminals and the correct criminals, we can now weed the sheep from the goat and then start to deal with the hardened ones and the career ones, where you could create a criminal offenders list, you could create a persons of interest list, and these are real things because we have the FBI publicizing their people of interest. There's a whole show based on that. We have Beyond the Tape that does do it. We have Ian Allen that does do it. So how it is you're telling me we cannot fix it? A lot of the crime is crimes of opportunity. And let me tell you, we are not going to be the only country that has crime. And there are, in pretty much all countries in the world, there is crime. But it is how it is managed. It's not out of control that a murder here, a murder there. You're just killing people randomly with no care or respect for human life. That is the crime people talking about, you know. The narcotics and stuff is not the issue, you know. It's the murders, the senseless murders, no care or regard for human life is what is the problem. I don't know if you all paying attention and analyzing this thing back to front, over and over, but you have to make it make sense.
yeah, it had a big sense.
Government is responsible. Let them do what they are supposed to. Many crimes are only crimes of opportunity. The majority of it is crimes of opportunity.
Right. So we have a caller. We have a caller on the line here.
Go
Good
ahead.
afternoon, caller. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon again. Well, I want to weigh in this argument now. There was a song a lady sing, "Poverty is no excuse for crime." And when the past regime was in power, they used to play that song all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what changed in 3 months?
A government change. Poverty is no excuse for crime, in truth.
But
at the same, time, wait.
Radio station, I used to hear that.
Yeah, but at the same time, caller, whether poverty, there are factors that the government could, I mean, they could aid the poverty. They could aid the crime through poverty, a matter of fact. When somebody not nothing, they resort to crime.
No, but I have no horse in this race because I'm not from in Trinidad right now.
Okay.
I am a Trinidadian, but I'm living outside.
Okay.
So I have no horse in the race. But I seen it, and this is something that I seen, and a lot of people from outside here see, my friends and people who are different Caribbean islands. The whole PNM at one standard, and the whole UNC at a different standard.
And I feeling that the whole UNC at no standard right now. Because 10,000 over 10,000 people lost the work and I nothing. I feel I'm being real with you. People, you know what it is, so people they be coming by you and saying they have nothing. I experiencing that right about now.
No, but Mr. Jeffrey
I am experiencing that.
I experiencing that.
Mr. Jeffrey and Ms. Kizzy.
Mm-hmm.
How long these people were? Let me put it for the past 5 years they was employed in CEPEP. In that 5 years, you telling me what social benefit, economic benefit they get? They don't have a savings account, they didn't be able to elevate themselves. So our CEPEP shut down, they have nothing. And for the past 5 years, I only call in 5 years, they're working every day.
Yeah, but
this related to another topic where I spoke of the system is designed for many people to fail. So CEPEP was only a plaster for an open wound as opposed to stitching it up, repairing the damage and stitching it up. It was a plaster.
So
because if you
so
go ahead, Renata.
Yeah, so in terms of what you're saying, caller, we're telling me that people in thing. There are people that step away from CEPEP and it would have served them. And there are people that, you know, throughout the years, I mean, because Trinidad have no opportunity. Trinidad literally have
Trinidad has opportunity, but we don't have the right people doing the right thing.
What I mean that Trinidad have no what I mean by Trinidad have no opportunity. You can literally, I mean, the opportunities that is presented to people that is in America, the same opportunity is not available to us in Trinidad. Take for example, welders.
But they're taking away them opportunities now, Mr. Anderson.
Well, oh God, I mean them.
Is going now.
We have the plethora of opportunities that should be available to the public. It don't have it.
Yeah.
It don't have it. It don't have it.
They should have more social and lifelines for the people and them.
Yes, we don't have it.
The last thing before I leave.
The only social and lifelines needed is a government that sets a structural plan for economic portfolio that is in the best interest of building the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. Once there is money, there is business, there is jobs, there is opportunity. People could live better. Standard in pricing, price schedules, price regulation, price stipulation to ensure that the minimum wage that you are indicating must be what people can actually live by. Because I am telling you, there are people that work, not just CEPEP, regular jobs, and still hustling to make ends meet. How you telling me you have a minimum wage and people cannot live by that? And then the private sector, there's no sanctions on them to give bonuses and to ensure that they give commission where it's supposed to be in order for people to actually live. There are companies that actually remove commission And it's not that they're not profiting. How do you
Well,
want
you
people
see,
to live on 3,000 and change per month?
but yeah, but
That is one
this
or
is a
two
problem, Miss
options
Kizia.
of your five basic living standards. You ain't even check your hierarchy of needs yet.
Well,
Kizzy,
let me like 2 minutes.
I know you get fired up there, but let me hear the caller. Let me hear the
Yeah,
caller. Go ahead. Go ahead.
2 minutes. Yeah, let me finish off. So yes, and I see import bill, and who's responsible? Who's the companies who import for the groceries or all the import bill over $8 billion in imports? Who benefits from that? And the next thing I want to say, we had a past government took land from Trinbago to give it to somebody to develop. Say he gonna give $100 million to the urban areas, never did it. Support and the last thing we protest. When the last regime was in power, my family them went to a protest with a radio station and they were tear gas and some people were arrested. The legislation haven't changed for that. So this SOE have nothing to do with protest. Even if it didn't have a SOE and you come out to protest, that legislation was placed there by the last regime. It's still existing. So if you want to protest, you still get tear gas and you still get taken away. So the SOE is nothing to do with protest. Let me wait and find out. You see, we had to stop picking sides and sort of think for country. You see, I can see it clearly
But this
because I'm
is
not for
it.
no party. And
This is
nobody never say nothing when the man take away when the last prime minister take away Trinbago land and want to give it and put Panji will go. And nobody will protest for that, you know. When all know so we could have a pan facility, we could have a cultural club, we could have so many things happening, making money for the same people who work in CEPEP and others. We could have developed that land. But you see, that's what I say. Let me don't hold one party in a higher standard than the other party. Let me call them out for the way it is, both parties.
I say so too.
All right, guys, look on this thing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your
but that
contribution,
is
brother.
what the political individuals are doing, right? But the premise of the program is for people to understand that when politics and party is over, it is a government, an administration with a role and responsibility and will be accountable for the governance of the country. And we're not seeing good governance. We ain't see it in the last in the last 15 years. We have not seen good governance. The reputation of Trinidad and Tobago on the international spectrum is at the lowest. I think there's a saying about your name is below the level of the maids of the house. That is Trinidad and Tobago right now. We're below the maids of the Caribbean, the maids of the world. When people hear Trinidad and Tobago, especially in the business arena, the government arena, the economic arena, I'm not talking about food nation and all of them things. I'm talking about real organizations that look into development and structure. We're not there anymore. If you check our rankings in 20 years ago and see how we rippled in a downward spiral from 15 years to now. Come on, man. All we asking is for only to fix it. That minimum wage power for people in the private sector. And for the public sector, they cannot wait years to get an increase and always be fighting for a back pay. Why can it be a 13-month year offering? Why can different trusts and benefits be set up to pay out these people on a yearly basis that does not affect the dollar of the government? Because one way or the other, once they get their money, they're happy. So how it happened is not even the issue. All the public servants are interested in is being paid their money. So whether the government pays or a fund is set up to mature and build and pay out, whether it's in quarters or at the end of the year, that is all they are concerned about. And they should not have to wait for years to pass to fight for a back pay. It must be consistent because your bills are consistent. Landlords don't want to hear that you don't have the money this month. They don't want to hear and check that going to raise, not wanting to hear that you can't pay your life. Because from the time they send you the bill, you have a certain period of time to pay it. And if you don't pay it and you reach over what is your threshold, they cut your life. And now you have to pay for reconnection. So digital, TSET, they all cut you. How do you want people to survive? A household cannot, a two-parent household cannot survive on $6,000 anymore on minimum wage. Put price regulations, stipulations, and schedules back. Set up mandates that company pays profit percentage to all their employees, whether by a commission or an incentive. We go KFC and stuff like that, and we feel like the employees disgruntled and they don't have manners and they don't have this. No, it's because it's working day and night doing things that the 1% on government not going to do, and you still can't see your way. This is why the employees does be disgruntled. They doesn't want to do it. They know they need the dollar because they don't want to. The ones that are still at it are the ones who don't want to go to jail. So they will try to do it as legal as possible to avoid that. But when you're pushing people in that direction, you're pushing them. You cannot live on minimum wage. We talking about the public servants, yes. They should not and must not have to wait for time to pass and then fight for back pay. That is my belief. It must be a regular thing, either every quarter, every bi-yearly, or yearly. The private sector, let it be a mandate. People get tied up as to what minimum wage is. Minimum wage was designed for the industries that did not have income brackets. They could not be tied in to a particular income bracket. It fluctuated. It was designed for the restaurant, the hotel industry. You have the stores that took advantage of it and now they abusing it and they're not offering any type of incentive for their employees. And when a person leaves and getting this, look at what their salary saying at the end of the fortnight or at the end of the month. They can't do nothing. You expect crime to done? You expect crime to done? Especially the crime of opportunity? It will never, because people work too hard. This is not an era for working hard, it's an era for working smart. And if you have to work smart and hard and still can't see your way, come on, man. Well, you don't have a clue how this does hurt my spirit. Because the thing about it is, the powers that be, the 1% of the government not living under these conditions and standards. They're not doing it. And why are we allowing them to treat us like dogs and pigs? And not even good breed dogs. I'm talking about patterns. The one that nobody wants. Why are we doing it? People, Trinidad and Tobago, We need to make it make sense. We need to understand that collectively we can make a change. We all have to understand that it does not matter what party is in. It matters what they do. It matters what they do. So we need to hold them responsible and accountable for the citizens of this country, for our economical development and growth.
As we are here,
I
before
don't know.
before we switch gears a little bit, let me play this video concerning this thing with CPEP here that you could understand people of Trinidad and Tobago. I know many of you don't want to hear Rowley and didn't want to hear Colin Booth, but this is a piece of vital information that many of you should take into consideration.
Companies that are contractors with the CPEP, I can tell you tonight that 32 of those companies were struck off from the registry. 32.
Hey, I would have seen in most recent times that the same thing that going on with CPEP, that they are saying that, it haven't gotten cabinet approval. It's a mantra that have been singing all through social media. But however, this year, if you would have led astray into believing such a thing, this video we are going to play up next might bring clarity to the situation. Again, as I would have always asked, pay attention.
But let me talk about this CPEP thing. They never said they would send home 11,000 CPEP workers. They never said they would send home over 4,000 forestry workers. Or I don't know how many thousand URP workers we have, but I'm sure they're sending them all home too. In 3 months, they have sent the number of unemployed people from 30,000 to 50,000. They take our unemployment rate from 4% to 7% in 3 months. That is governance UNC style. And we have them in court, and we're going to fight them, and we're going to fight them, and we're going to fight them. We're not going to give up. We're going to fight for the workers. We're going to fight for what is right, and what is just, and what is proper. And we feel we're going to win too. We will see, but we're going to fight them to the bitter end. But when we went to court to take action against them for that unjust and oppressive termination of 330 approximately CPEP contractors and 11,000 workers, they came with a defense. The contracts were not authorized. They say the extensions of contracts done by the PNM government were not authorized. It's illegal. Let me tell you what the facts are. We went to Parliament in June of this year to do something called a supplementation of appropriation based on another thing called a mid-year review. Now, every year, the government, it doesn't matter which government it is, PNM, whether it's UN, every 6 months, the Minister of Finance would take a look at the performance of the body. Because at the beginning, you estimate your tax revenue and you estimate your expenditure. So they estimate. But things don't always go according to plan. So around 6 months into the financial year, you do a review. It's called a mid-year review. And based on that, you might want to move money around in between one ministry and another. One ministry might have extra, more than it needs, and another one might need money, so you move it around. That's called variation. Or all the ministries or a whole set of ministries might need extra money. That's called supplementation. And what is done after that is the Minister of Finance, having done his review, will then take a note to Cabinet. And he will ask Cabinet to agree to increase the expenditure in a number of ministries. So they just came in. The mid-year review was programmed for around May-June. They decided to do it in June. And they added $3 billion in expenditure for the financial year. And that's another story, because they don't have the money to pay for that. So that is just smoke and mirrors. That's just fantasy. But in that $3 billion, put $60 million extra for CPEP in the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. Now, the way the process goes, the minister bring a note to cabinet. He will seek cabinet agreement to increase expenditure in various ministries, education, health, national security, whatever it is. And that is then sent to the parliament to a committee called the Standing Finance Committee. All members of parliament are members of that committee, and it's live on TV, Standing Finance Committee. And in that committee, they go through every single increase in every single ministry, and ministers are asked to explain. And in this year, June, the UNC government came to Parliament and asked for $60 million additional for CEPEP. Guess what it was for? It was to pay the CEPEP contractors, because the contracts were varied and extended before the general election, before April 28th. And they came in June to approve expenditure on those contracts. And they can't do that until cabinet first approves it. So there's cabinet approval for the extra $60 million, and there's cabinet approval for the expenditure on all these CEPEP contracts. That came to Parliament, we debated it, we asked questions, they say, give answers, the gallery themselves, and they got carried away. And two ministers, in particular the Minister of Local Government, said, all I get is 100 million, and out of that, 60 million is to pay for all those contracts that the PNM awarded just before the general election, CEPEP contracts. So it approved by cabinet, approved by parliament, assented to by the president, and that is the end of that. So I want to know where they're going with this. Well, Mr. Scotland, you will deal with that, right? And these are facts. You could go and read the Hansard. You could go and watch the television and look at the debate on the supplementation of appropriation. Look at the debate and the discussion in the Standing Finance Committee. Download the documents, it's on the Parliament website. Everything is there. They came and asked for an extra 60 million to pay for all those PNM contracts. That was in June. And when they finish, get the approval, they terminate all the contracts. And now saying the contracts had no approval. Jokers. Let's see where they're going with that.
Now, you would have seen what would have gone on there. Cross-referencing all the information together with what you are hearing on both sides of the fence, you make your decision and analysis based on the video. Trust me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, truth is being revealed. That was... Just pay attention to the information that you are seeing. That was an explanation as... Just so, let me get this thing out from behind me, because I hearing it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the explanation there concerning the approval right. Certain things going on here behind. Right. We hearing your TV on this side, Miss Kezia, your TV. Okay. So that was the approval process that some of you have been trying to talk about concerning this this situation here. And a lot of people is saying that concerning this cabinet approval thing. And that was an explanation right there from Colin Imbert. And we are saying to you, Trinidad and Tobago, many of you have been talking about this thing that they call cabinet approval. What do you have to say concerning that? Because again, we hearing people using nice term political football on this side, political football on the next side, political football here, there and everywhere. But how much of us understand what we are really saying and not just parroting talks and slangs from other people? How much of us understand what we are saying? Plenty of us is just mouthpieces of other people or of shows, a matter of fact, that many of you have been hearing or saying and talking about it. Many of you become just willing mouthpiece without even self-thinking. Now we hearing this here from Colin and Bert. We hear the argument on the next side from Saddam Hussein, it no cabinet approval. We hearing the matter going to the DPP, and look, here lies an explanation from Colin and Bert. Now, here how sad this thing is. If the people, if the DPP come now and agree with the previous government that was there before, what are you going to say? Good evening, caller. Let me join this caller to this. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jeff and Mr. You know, I listened to
well, tell me. I mean, you hear the explanation, not so?
Right, I hear the explanation.
Oh God. I mean, this is common sense.
Yeah, but that's when the new budget come in, right? And this is the payout for this what going on right now. So they're gonna pay out what existing already right now. That's 60 million. That 60 million cannot be for the next 5 years, Mr. Jeffries. That 60 million is the payout now. There's 300 contractors, and we know how much money is billions of dollars that was just be for the last 10 years. So we know it's a lot of money.
No,
we're talking about if they're not part of the registry for the new fiscal year. This is what we're talking about, the new fiscal year. We are talking about this now. The new budget hasn't been read yet.
No,
so we still dealing with the old budget.
The allocation for CEPEP, right? That have been a customary thing since 2029, a matter of fact. No, not 2029, 2009. And it have been customary going. There's actually a figure, $1.4 billion. It is estimated the cost the government between now and 2029.
So for the new fiscal year, Mr. Redison, right? You think you're gonna pay contractors who are not in the registry?
No. And what I am saying is get them out. I mean, if they're not in the registry, that is good terms to say, well, here what's going on. You're not registered,
and this is
time for you to go. But what about the rest? Is only 33 of these contractors in juxtaposition to 300 contractors. Is only 33. Only 33 contractors.
Right? And then we have to figure out the ghost gangs they say existing. Right? And all this will be going in court, and all this will be clarified. You see, we had one CEO state on affidavits he was forced. We don't know what means or what means. We don't want to prejudice the case. But this is the thing. They're speaking about that in the meeting. But where at press conferences, why they not? They say they're fighting for the poor people. Where the last press conference I hear was about who when it was electing state board was who is more Indian and who's and that is something need to be changed. That is something need to be changed. This is an important factor. They say 10,000 people home, but where they fight? Where they are? This is supposed to be every day. Supposed to have a press conference on this. This is supposed to be outside. This is supposed to be shared. This is to be public domain. Do you think something is not right? You see, we listen to one side, but just when it goes to the court, then we can make a fair judgment.
As both sides are listening to. You see, let me explain something about CEPEP. Let me tell you why it bothered me so. There are many people around my area that is involved in CEPEP. I would have filed cases of people based on the union, a matter of fact. As a member of a union, and I would have filed cases of people within CEPEP. The thing about it is this. You cannot be dead and collecting money from CEPEP. CEPEP goes like this. CEPEP pays the contractor and they pay every individual worker. The money goes straight to their bank account. All workers. All. So you have to have you have to be from Trinidad. You have to have an ID card. And it's not like if the money goes to the contractor and then it goes to the worker, it goes straight to the worker. And you have to have a bank account. That is what this goes.
I understand. No, but I will wait and see when it goes to the court and the case is fought and the result, and then I will put blame on who is to blame.
No, no.
Right now
I wanted this. You see, at dispelling the factor that you're talking about, the ghost gang, the monies go straight to the person account. It can't have no ghost gang there. CEPEP pay every worker individually. Every worker.
But then it goes to the bank.
Yes, it goes to the bank.
Right, but when I mean ghost gang, I don't mean dead people. I talk about people who sign up and they're not working.
Well, I mean, that is something that could be in dispute.
Because it happens over here too, Mr. Anderson. Don't feel it don't happen here.
You know that is happening
here also.
Yeah, but that also happening in the government. There are people that not one day on the job and they're getting paid. There are people never even went in the office for some days and they're getting paid. There are people that only receiving briefs. As a matter of fact, this is what's going on within the organization here, and they're getting paid. And on both sides of the fence, there are secretaries in certain government office that didn't come into work 2-3 days a week and getting the full salary. That going on all in the industry, in the judiciary. That going on with teachers as well.
And
that's not just going on in CEPEP. And if it's going on in CEPEP, how much you think a man getting in CEPEP? $800 a fortnight, $900 a fortnight. These people that working in these ministries working for well over $8,000 and $9,000. There are certain police officers that going on with them too. But the mere factor that they're going after people that is at the minimum wage.
Many of them.
No, well,
greater percentage than you think.
No, well, I was just drawing a perspective. I mean, I see people picking on the CEPEP workers there. So, brother,
you see, this is the reason why
he's still on the line.
The CEPEP thing
he's still on the line there, Kezia. He's still on the line.
Yeah, so before I leave, and before I leave, this is the thing, Mr. Jeff and Ms. Kezia. You see, we listening to one political party or other political party, but it's when it goes to court,
yes,
then we will know the truth, facts, and fiction. The same thing when they went to court for the money that was the Auditor General, the councils and them say why the minister wasn't investigated also. And they didn't have an answer for it. We saw it on TV. You can answer the question why he wasn't investigated, and this is the problem.
Yeah, but
stop listening to this one and that one. You could come on a platform and say this approve and that approve.
No, but I'm glad you bring up that point with the Auditor General. Seeing that Colin Limburg was not investigated, why at this point in time a probing launch into the matter? Is it that it is true it was a accounting error, or that was just allegation and propaganda? Or the country is prepared to just let Colin Limburg run away with 2-point-something billion as was suggested, 2.3 billion.
You see, the thing is,
nobody can to say, because to me that appearing to be just allegation and propaganda. Because look, nobody is saying nothing about it now. All the people who was blasting it, Colin Limburg, $2.3 billion missing. Wait, nobody ain't saying nothing. Or you could just let a man walk away $2.3 billion.
Mr. Jeff, you know this happening a long time. You look at A.B. Drilling, look at Malcolm Jones. You know this happening a long time.
Yeah, but
who destroyed?
Yeah, but why the UNC? Why the UNC not going after Colin Limburg if that information is true?
Yeah, but this is
why they're not going after him.
If you don't have a paper,
they're not going after him because when your hand in the cookie jar too, you have to know You had to ease it out in order to get away. So they will
Yeah, but if
not
you
go
don't have no
after
paperwork and
their
digital
own.
footprint, where you could get the evidence from? All right, let me put it in
Listen,
this way. They're
it's not where
they're
you could
speaking
get
so
the
much about
evidence
this.
from, you know. The evidence is there. It's about who could you get to deal with it. It's not
Yeah,
about getting
the
the
same thing with
evidence.
the airport.
It's about getting the
The same thing
right,
with
the individuals that will champion that cause. That is the problem.
yeah,
Period.
the same thing with the EMBD. $1 billion and nothing happened. The same thing with the airport. How much billions they spend and how much money they get back? 300 million. This is what I'm saying. Once you don't have paperwork and digital footprints, you could go on and on. And you could have 10,000 probes and you could have
But
10,000.
listen, you all need to understand harping on the past is not relevant. All of those things are past. And I'm saying that simply for the same reason why you are saying that nothing will come out of it. Because those are past situations. We need to
And
hold
that
governments accountable for their
that's the thing.
current
It's
situation.
been happening a long,
I
long
before.
time now.
I care what you're doing now.
Look at the hospital.
It's happening a long
I
time
thought
and
the
nobody
hospital
did
was
nothing. Nobody said nothing. But we no longer could operate like that. And to tell you how
yeah,
they
but look at the hospital.
are, boy. Hey,
Yes, caller. We, we,
the
we
Look
we
at the
keep
question
on
is
here.
to you.
look at the
Tell me.
hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the wing of the hospital. I claim they said they opened it, but it was never open. Look at the airport in Tobago. They say it was open, but it was never open.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the problem. And we hearing how much cost overruns and nothing will come out of it because they have no digital footprint and no paperwork. Who they go hold accountable for it? And this is what I'm saying. It will always be like this until it gets fixed, and we need to fix it. All right, look on this thing, guys.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. And it's true. And we reach a point where we have to wind down at this point in time. I see Kezia doing some backflip on she side there. So, citizens of Trinidad
No,
and Tobago
in my mind, I just
and
trying to
the
conceptualize
general
how
public.
people are seeing.
We are at the point where we're winding down at this point in time, and we are calling it quit for the night. So next week is the next show. Hopefully we will keep the show for 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. So without further ado, I'm handing it over to Miss Keziah to close off the show. And thanks for watching. The most of you that would have watched us on Facebook, on TikTok, and on YouTube, thanks for watching. Yes, we would have gotten back our platform. We snatched back the platform from whoever it was. We go call no name, we go leave it alone. And we arrive here. Thanks for watching, the many of you. Keziah, turn over the program here to you. And you must watch your audience, and you must have a little posture when you're dealing with people who come in to sit up to hear you. Go ahead.
This is me when I'm frustrated and I'm upset. When I'm trying to conceptualize how it's only the few seeing the bigger picture and not seeing race and politics and not seeing party. This is what happens because my passion and drive for things, it's either all the way up or none at all. So I'm trying to cope with the fact that we struggle week in, week out to get the citizens to understand this is not politics and party. This is not race. This is about a government that is to govern the masses suffering. The 1% are the only ones heads above water right now. Everybody else below water and they're running out of air. The oxygen tanks they are all running out of air. Because what is designed or should be designed for stability is designed for many to feel, the masses to feel. Whether you want to say it's the Afro-Indo-Trinidadian, whether you want to say it's the African Trinidadian, or whether you want to say poor people, at the end of the day, there is a significant number of people in Trinidad and Tobago that's suffering. Literally, not because they are working. If you are working and you're unable to save from your salary a significant amount of money, at least, at least a minimum of a 20. Sorry about that, guys. I am terribly sorry, but there's rain falling by me and I'm in a valley, so the reception is not at the best. But I just want it to be understood that this is focused on the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago stepping into their own, holding government responsible and accountable, and being able to transform from hand to mouth status to a more secure position in their lives, being able to afford the different things that they would like to have, and being able to push forward. And it is the intent and purpose to educate a lot of our viewers and the citizenry on what is to be expected. So I don't want to push too much beyond now, but I would bid you all a farewell and a blessed night. And I hope you all be encouraged and inspired for future endeavors, whether it's tomorrow or beyond. But it's my hope and desire that we evolve. That's it. That's a wrap. Sweet Slimy just came in to grace us with his presence, so I'll just let him wrap us up for the night. Yeah, we're here. We're here. Yeah. Well, we're on the wrap up. This is it. We were just closing off.
So this to me seems like it's some kind of ploy where they're gonna try to use us to topple the Maduro regime, and this will have serious implications for the region, including Trinidad and Tobago. You know, you guys are complaining that you have a migrant problem now. What is gonna happen if Venezuela blows up? So this is something that just happened yesterday, and it should be on your radar for something in the future. Just to be aware of. I don't know if you all heard the the announcement by Pam Bondi. Did you? Yes, no?
I briefly saw some stuff on social media about it, but between meetings, church, and everything else, I wasn't able to focus on it. So I would look a little more into it to come up with an assessment on the direction
So
it
this
would
should
be heading.
be
But
like,
again, this is the reason why we need to have a strong economic portfolio. If we have one, we wouldn't be bothered or concerned much because we can tighten our borders and be able to weather that storm. But it is what it is.
all right, that's it.
All right, Trinidad and Tobago, that's it for us. Renison.